Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here with the stand, myself, George, and Lance.
Good evening.
On this May 2nd, 2017, late night edition. We're trying to cut it down so we can, hopefully get our systems up and running. We're still testing and still experimenting with all that, so bear with us. We're going to get it and hopefully go a lot earlier as time goes on. So,
With no guarantees.
Well, of course, there's no guarantees, same with life. The only thing in life guarantee is death. So anyways,
but we did make some strides today. So.
Made a lot of good strides. Again, we had May Day just passed. We had a lot of, a lot of great news that's happening. North Korea, we got that still going on. Just a lot of news that we're going to be covering today. But before again, last week, I sort of criticized Trump on going after Assange, and everybody was, celebrating the fact that I was going after Trump, and I guess completely missing the point that, yeah, he's going after Assange, that's a bad thing, but everybody thinks that now I jumped ship, and it's not the case, folks. It's just, again, sorry.
Well, we live the world has become very polarized.
Right.
There's no gray area anymore. As everybody knows, I stated early on, I was not initially a Trump fan. I liked other candidates early on, and I still do to some extent. But Trump won. Trump's president. He doesn't do everything that I like. Every now and then he does something that that I'm a little cautious of. I mean, the protectionism that he's got going on now. I mean,
yes.
I prefer a more free market. But if he builds a wall, if he takes care of the VA, if he fixes immigration and a lot of the other problems we're having, I can take a few things like a stimulus package. I'm willing to have a little bit of a gray area.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to be these hard and fast, no wiggle room at all, one issue supporters. So I mean, so far overall, I give him a good grade.
Right, and I do as well. And it's really, amazing to see. Yeah, there are some things that I don't agree on, but everybody dwells on that whole thing when you have the crazy amount of things that he's done just when 100 days, So there are, with the minuscule things, the bad things that he's done, and I don't agree with. They want to outweigh that to all the amazing things that he has done. So, I'm not kissing his butt. I'm not over here like, Emperor God Trump.
Well, it's like the thing with the pipeline. Yes, I want him to make the pipeline happen. I'd like it if we would use American steel.
Right.
But maybe it's not the most advantageous. Maybe foreign steel is better in the sense that it makes a profit for the company that is employing people. Would I prefer all American? Yeah, but in a free market, in the real world, sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Right, exactly. So like you said, it might be cheaper, it might be more efficient, but having that label, like you used to see in stores, made in America, that does.
Well, no, from a morale point of view, I love it.
Right.
I think, but sometimes it's not practical, but it's got to be, it's like I said, it's a morale thing. It's good for the, if with this attitude, it's better in the long run.
Right.
I don't expect everything to be made in America and everything done by American workers. I want as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Being a free market guy, I'm a free market guy. If Toyota makes a better car than Ford, and I get more bang for my buck, I guess I'm buying a Toyota because I'm a capitalist.
Right, exactly.
So let me go ahead and say a comment that we just had from Ian Hull. He is our president. The hatred is stopping people from pointing out the good stuff. He ain't perfect, but he has done some good stuff.
Yeah, great. Overall, like I said, I give him a high grade. I give him, at the very least, a B plus, A minus.
Right.
Because I knew going in that he was going to have views that he's. I'm sorry, but he's a guy from New York. They don't think like guys from Utah and Colorado. That's just a given. But overall, He's doing a fine job.
I would have to agree as well.
And he's fighting both parties pretty much.
That's the other thing that is really getting me annoyed is that the Republicans have won everything. We're in power in all branches, or in both houses in the presidency. Why are they fighting amongst themselves? This is a slam dunk, and the Republicans seem to be so used to being on the defensive they don't know how to get things done.
Right, exactly. So that's one of our topics that we have today. Republicans' number one enemy, is
Seems to be themselves.
It is truly themselves, because there's really no opposition other than themselves. You have some parties that you do have the Democratic Party, which they're not as strong.
They're completely fractured. But to watch the news, you'd think they were on the march, and it's only a matter of time before they take over the world.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But Hillary Clinton is still complaining about losing the election. She's still blaming others. God, they need to move on.
Well, we'll get into that later.
They finally figured out why she lost.
Let me guess. Let me throw the dart at the board of the blame.
Her last
misogyny.
Misogyny.
No, she said she said she finally figured out why, because her voters didn't go out and vote for her.
They've been saying that since the beginning.
That's because she didn't get them enthusiastic, because she is, I don't want to use the word, but she's a giant. She's a mud pile. No one cares about her.
She couldn't get her people together because she wouldn't even show up for the rallies, and when she did show up, she was ill.
Every state that she lost,
she passed out.
She didn't go to.
Right.
Yeah. Was it Wisconsin or Minnesota?
Well, because the arrogance of the left, the arrogance of Hillary Clinton, is just that. They think that they had it in the bag because they what was it? Such a campaign against Trump, saying a smear campaign. So he's this, and that they'll automatically by the default that everybody would just go and say, oh, he's just a POS. And leave it like that.
Well, they lost the Rust Belt because they months, maybe a couple of years ago, they actually came out and said, we are no longer seeking the middle class white vote. And it cost them. And they know it. But the fact is that even though they know it, they've still gone off the rails. Their DNC chair is out of his mind. The things that come out of his mouth, 20 years ago, they wouldn't even put him on TV because of the things he says.
Exactly.
He curses on air, and it's...
You're talking about Crybaby Schumer?
No, he's a whole other. I'm talking about, was it Perez, the DNC?
Oh, right.
Perez, yeah. He gets up there and he called us all a bunch of POS, and but that's how far they've sunk.
Well, exactly, and but that's the left mentality now, is just to go all out, all left, off the deep end, pretty much, in order for them to reach their audience, because their audience goes around not blowing up buildings, but
But they're
riots,
reaching one segment of their audience, a tiny vocal one. See, the left has always had the vocal minority to get things done.
Right.
They forget about what Reagan called the silent majority. And they have a silent majority who are watching these things on TV that we've watched earlier, the Mayday
Right,
riots,
exactly, yeah.
And they're going, these are people don't represent
And do
me,
you
but
think
the left thinks they do.
Right, do you think the conservative Democratic Party really enjoys seeing that, And that's like...
I think they hang their head in shame.
Exactly.
There is some moderate Democrat out there somewhere who watches these things and just goes, if this continues, we're sunk. But the inmates are running the asylum in the Democratic Party. They have actually they've given them the okay to do this. Now, I don't know if anybody, we talked about this earlier, but I honestly believe the communist revolution is upon us.
And I actually believe that as well.
These anarchists, they're socialist, Marxist, communists. Their whole point is to overthrow our way of life. I don't know if it's because they're bored or it's because the colleges and school districts have indoctrinated them over the last couple generations, but it's got to stop. They are going to continue to grow because it's going to become hip.
Yeah, well, it already is trending, because most of these kids that are out there is just that, kids, and they're part of the whole everything's trendy thing. It's the hipster mentality. I'm not saying all the hipsters are this.
If I was 20, maybe I'd be a hipster, but I wouldn't be a liberal hipster.
Right, exactly.
If I wore a plaid shirt and had a beard, I'd actually know how to change a tire and chop some wood. But no, it started down a path that it has to be. We have to pull them back, and we can't do it because they hate us outright.
Yeah.
The Democrats
It
have
would
to,
have to be their.
they have
right.
to get a hold of their own party and grab them by the scruff of the neck, shake them up a little bit, and tell them you're taking it because
Too far. It's
well,
too
they
far
think
now.
if they win, they'll still be in power. But
Well,
in every communist revolution, the people who start the revolution and make it succeed are the first ones they get rid of.
Exactly.
Because if you can start that revolution, you can start another one.
there it is. There it is.
Read
And-
a
and-
history book. That's
Well,
all
no,
they do is
that's
read a
too
history
much.
book.
That's too much. Nobody wants to do that. Who the hell has time for that? Football's on. But anyways,
Nothing wrong with football.
but it's just the you have all these people going out there, destroying things. You have Portland throughout the whole coastal cities, just destroying property, and they don't even care. I mean, you watch the videos; it's somewhat humorous, because
And it's incredibly humorous. Lance made an observation earlier. Tell him what you saw that we've been laughing about hysterically.
yeah,
Well, so first of all, they went in and like kicked out 2 windows, and all you can see are like escalators that go up to apartments probably. And this rioter, he had a flare in his hand, and he goes in and he like throws it backhanded with his left hand, and it goes like straight up, like inside though. It made it inside, but like it went straight up,
and come right down.
and then like just dropped like probably about like 5 feet away from him, and then he just turned around and booked it.
I would say he threw it like a girl, but that would insult all girls because
a
it was a
horrible-
horrible throw.
Are you saying a girl could probably throw it better than
Oh yeah.
his attempt?
A toddler. A toddler could have done better. That whole toddler throw where that shoulder and elbow don't quite work together. But yeah, it was a
But it
terrible
still
throw.
would still go farther.
And then he almost fell down.
Yeah.
Trying to turn out and run.
Yeah.
It's
From
like no
what?
one was chasing
Yeah,
him.
no
but-
one was chasing. The police weren't going to arrest him.
Well, that's the other part to it. With these rioters and everything, President Trump really needs to start cracking down on these people. Not so much him, but Sessions and the attorney generals of the state and in those states where it's happening. These people really need to be brought to prosecution and like you said a couple weeks ago, George, given a hard lesson.
Well, first off, an organized riot like this for political means is terrorism. Using violence to promote your political agenda is terrorism. They are domestic terrorists. They are breaking the law on so many levels. I'm sure that the list of laws they're breaking is like a phone book.
Yeah.
The thing is, no one seems to want to prosecute them or pursue them at this point because I think they're afraid they'll get bad press because the left-wing media supports them. When's the last time you saw Anderson Cooper down at one of these Mayday riots illustrating the damage you're causing?
He'll probably be at one with a green screen behind him.
Well, if he goes to one, he'll be chanting and supporting them. My point is that we look to the media to inform the public of what's going on, but they won't inform them because they're part of the plan.
Right, exactly.
If the police go in and arrest a bunch of rioters and there's scuffles, I guarantee you all you will see is poor snowflakes being bludgeoned by police. You won't see the barricade they set on fire. You won't see the police car they set on fire. You won't see the
people getting
civilians
hurt,
that are
right.
getting hurt. You won't see them pepper spraying people. You'll just see them on the ground being beaten by the fascist police,
Right.
which has been a common tactic for the media since the 60s.
No, so it's, and you're right, George. This has been a build-up of the revolutionist Communist Party happening here within America, and that's what the message really needs to be put out. And I don't even, the mainstream media is not even talking about this, because you see them with the flags everywhere, the red communist flags with the hammer and sickle and everything, and thinking that this is the way to go, that America needs to transform from a capitalist into a communist state.
Well, they've always said the only reason communism keeps failing is because it hasn't been tried here.
Right.
So, and a little philosophical point on my part is that if you have to wear a mask at a protest, then you're really not proud of what you're protesting.
Well,
No. They're wearing masks to protect their identity because they know they're committing criminal acts. If I go on a
Right.
protest like that or a riot, I'm going to leave my face visible because if that means I'm out there and I'm doing what I think is right. They know they're wrong.
No, I agree 100%.
Well, they want to cover their identities so they don't get caught.
Well, the NSA's facial recognition software, we know who they are. Well, they would know who they are anyway.
All you got's the eyes, though.
I don't know. I think they're capable.
Well, it could be
But
like,
then you have some of them that wear the goggles. I mean, you can't even tell their faces.
Yeah. They just need to be dragged out in the street and beaten. But that's just me. I'm old school.
no,
anyway.
but prosecution does need to come to these
No,
people.
they need
They-
to arrest you. They
and the
did
police-
arrest 25?
Yeah, but the
25.
police need to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to them destroying property. You know, and it is hard to do. You know, try to round up all these people, because it's come to the point now where it's beyond freedom of speech. You start destroying, you know, police vehicles, property, and everything else. Like you said, it is domestic terrorism at that point, and it needs to be stopped, because this was ultimately is going to start the civil war.
Well, that's what they want. They've said several times they want a war.
Right.
They
But
just
do they really understand what they're getting themselves
no,
into?
they really don't. Because they see it ideologically.
Right.
They think they are of the mind that they're all going to be there at the end, and it's all going to be just what they
Rainbows
expect.
and butterflies.
Yeah, they don't realize that a small portion of them in an armed conflict will not be there at the end.
Yeah,
If they win,
I think a large portion, not
if they
small.
lose,
Yeah.
a lot of them won't be there.
I
But
think
no,
even if they win,
Well, you know, it's
it'd probably
funny.
be like the 2 or 3 left standing. You know.
The funny thing is the ones who are advocating for armed violence against this country are people who have never actually done it before or have any clue how it works. So they need to be careful what they wish for.
Well, exactly. You know, myself and George were trained in the military. Not to say that anybody else who has no military training is worthless. You know, but you know, everybody has training from somewhere. You know, and majority of people who are trained in martial arts or from the military or from other sources is from the conservative right. You know, and you really don't see too many of these liberal snowflakes out there training for any type of anything, really.
Well,
you know?
I'm sure there's some out there,
Well,
but the serious ones.
But a very small percent.
Yes.
In
Most of
comparison
them are
to
busy
the
eating-
majority, yeah.
Most of them are busy eating Cheetos and smoking pot and watching Xbox. So, you know, there'll be a very sharp learning curve if they go all out on this.
Well, I mean, it's getting worse and worse. You know, I thought, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago?
Berkeley.
What was that, a week ago or 2 weeks
Week ago.
Well, it just seems like it was 2 weeks. I know.
With the Ann Coulter thing.
Right, exactly. You saw the protests that happened there, and you know, I thought that was bad. But this whole Mayday situation, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And so, who knows? We'll see what comes out of it. You know, maybe
Well,
it
they're
could be.
just looking for any excuse to have a protest at this point, so they can go demolish stuff.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and it needs to be stopped. So switching gears, just break down to what we're going to be talking about. I know we sort of went off in that little rant.
It's hard not to when they give you so much to work with.
I know, right? So I'll be covering today. CNN blocked President Trump's ad, pretty much promoting his first 100 days. The UN message to President Trump. I'll get into that a little bit later. George has some things on the military today, and then Lance has some more things on the divide within the Republican Party and much more after that. So I'm sort of curious about the military news you got, George.
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Start off with some good news. The director of the Shreveport VA hospital in Louisiana has been fired following a 3-year tenure filled with scandal, including accusations of covering up a secret wait list, creating severe staffing shortages, and refusing to buy essentials like vital sign machines, linens, or mattresses. Now, this is a guy who's been put in charge of taking care of our veterans, our wounded veterans. And this kind of behavior is disgusting. And
Yeah.
but the fact that it's taken this long to get him fired is amazing. His name is Toby Matthew. He became the director of the Overton Brooks VA Medical Center in June of 2014, was fired April 13th due to charges related to general misconduct and failure to follow policy and provide effective oversight of the center's credentialing and privileging program, said an internal VA memo. He is the highest profile employee removed since Secretary, he's a tough one, Shinsky left in May of 2014 following the news of a massive waitlist scandal in the Phoenix Veterans Hospital. Last week, President Trump signed an executive order creating an office within
This
the
is
VA
huge. This is huge.
to make it easier to fire bad employees. That is very important. The VA has become a bureaucracy, and as we all know, bureaucrats they never go away.
They never do anything.
Well, they do
They
nothing
just
but harm.
squat.
They
Yeah,
just
they just
harm
squat.
and clog up the system, and they design ways to slow things down to justify their existence. They need to be terminated and fired and sent packing when they don't do their job, especially with the VA. You know, I can't even imagine what it's like to be laying in a bed with an injury, and I can't get fresh linen.
Right, exactly.
I'm laying on a mattress that's from the Vietnam era, or whatever these things might be, or I can't get.
Well, let me stop you. We're not joking, folks. With the military, when it comes to VA, they don't necessarily have the brand new things, you know. And George, it's not an exaggeration that he's saying. I've been to a VA hospital several times. You know, I was in Walter Reed. I was in a couple other military hospitals, and they're not always up to par with the civilians. And so I just want to throw that out there to folks to help them understand that it's not exaggeration. We're talking about things from the Vietnam era. I mean, when I was in, I still had stuff from the Vietnam era, you know, training and stuff. It's not until you get into your unit, then you actually get the new stuff that's from, the 90s or whatever. So
Well,
I hate to stop you, but, it just needs to, people I think need to understand what the military actually has in it as opposed to what they show on TV.
Oh yeah, you can't believe anything on TV. My father went into the VA hospital in the 80s, and I worked in a hospital in the 80s, so I had something to compare it to. The VA it's Jurassic Park. It is so old, it's so decrepit, and this was the one in Santa Monica, one of the bigger ones, one of the nicer ones, and it just, you could feel the difference just walking in.
Yeah.
I know it's terrible. I mean, these are men and women who have raised their hand and basically told the government, I will write you a check that includes everything up to my life, and you can cash it at any time, and this is how we repay them.
Right.
I don't care if you went in and you sat behind a desk and you never saw anything. If you need VA help, you should get it.
Should be there.
Because you took that chance. You said, I'll roll the dice.
Yeah.
I have an example. So my grandpa, he has a buddy, his name is Wayne, if you've heard of him.
I've heard of Wayne.
So he was having like stomach problems, and it took about 10 or 11 months, and the VA just kept giving him like pain medication, just gives like, here's some ibuprofen or whatever.
Right.
He finally was like, it's not going away. So he went to a regular hospital. They did some tests on him. They came back and said, you have cancer throughout your whole body, and you have a month to live.
Right.
But if the VA would have caught it when he first went in, like,
Might have had a chance.
might have had a chance. But then he passed like 2 or 3 weeks after.
That's too bad.
And this
It is
happened
too
like
bad.
a couple months ago, so.
Yeah, when my dad went in, you just can feel that the level of care is they're not enthusiastic. And I hate this to equate it to a free market, but doctors in the private sector, they're
Yeah,
held
absolutely.
accountable.
Yeah.
Doctors in the VA and staff in the VA, they're not. They've become part of the bureaucracy.
Right. Because they're a government,
Well, they're-
quasi-government agency.
Well, I'm sure the doctor goes in with the best of intentions. I'm there to help these people.
Yeah, but it's
then
just
when
like
he's
everywhere else.
clogged up with bureaucrats going, you can't issue that, you can't do that, you're spending too much on this.
Yeah.
And so he's there to heal.
His care starts to go down.
When a
you
doctor
know?
spends more time doing paperwork than healing, the results are never going to be good.
Right. Exactly.
So,
And so that's how the swamp is created. This whole swamp narrative. That's how it becomes created. And it's not like majority of these people in the government or in the VA, like you said, they have the best intentions, but with all the paperwork, the red tape, then they become part of the
problem.
swamp. Right.
well, here's one of the things they mentioned. They said Brooks started taking hits after an October 2014 report that patients routinely went days without sheets, pajamas, or proper toiletries, while the hospital spent millions on new furniture, TVs, and solar panels. Okay, I think the VA should still get its power right off the grid. You don't need solar panels. You're getting it for free anyway, I'm sure. The fact that, these are basics.
Well,
Right.
it's all governmental run anyway.
But it's, I won't even tell that. I was going to tell a story, but I won't. But When I lived in LA, I actually did a job where we did some decorating at the VA in some of the, they weren't quite dorms, but they weren't quite patient rooms. We hung. I helped the contractor. They hung pictures, corporate artwork, basically. And everybody's ever gone to a corporate office, you'll see this artwork. This artwork is very expensive. We hung hundreds of pictures, which probably amounted to $1 million worth of artwork. Okay, yeah, they should have nice surroundings, should have things to look at. But these buildings, as far as I know, are still sitting empty to this day with artwork in them.
Wow.
You know, so that was just money
Wasted.
pissed away.
Yeah.
You know, somebody said, let's jazz up that building and put some artwork in it. And far as I could tell,
No one used it.
no one ever used it. Maybe now, it has been a few years, but it just seemed senseless and wasteful to put this expensive artwork in there. And it wasn't cheery artwork, you know. It really wasn't.
It does
It's
sound
just
like
bland.
military.
Like bland.
Sounds like some bland artwork, you know. It's bad. It's really bad. And I'm glad he did that VA bill. Hopefully to turn it around. Well, it will turn around. And not say hopefully. It will turn this around. It will start taking care of the veterans, you know, who are really injured, you know.
Even if there wasn't a war going on and there weren't a lot of injured veterans, the Veterans Administration and the hospitals should be tip-top at all times.
They should. Well, I mean, every government agency should be tip-top. I mean, we have millions and millions of dollars getting poured into all these agencies, and what's there to show for it? You know, how come, like Trump said during the his campaign, the infrastructure, how come we're pouring all this money into the roads and all this money into the bridges and everything else, and they still look like crap? You know, you go down the road here, any Las Vegas road, it sounds like you're off road somewhere.
That's state.
Yeah.
State of Nevada. The interstates are what he's talking about. Your local roads, that's your city government, and Vegas has always had bad roads because they make the developer pay for the roads.
Right, exactly.
And then they just maintain them. They don't maintain them very well.
But even the highways and you know, the freeways and everything here. I mean, come on, man.
Well, when you cross the border to go to California or Arizona,
Yeah.
there's a drastic downgrade.
Yeah.
Well, California, the Los Angeles County has the worst roads, as far as I'm concerned, in the continental United States. If you go from LA County to Orange County, you can close your eyes and feel the difference between the road. You know exactly when you cross the county line, because it goes from the Indiana Jones ride to smooth as glass. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's also the same way as when you go to Arizona.
I haven't been in Arizona in a while. Is their roads good?
It looks like when you go, like, you can still feel the same thing when you go across. I mean, it looks like the roads were last maintained in like the 70s or something.
Well, it's Arizona, you know.
It's horrible.
But on to some other news, kind of military-ish. The U.S. test fired the Boeing-made Minuteman III missile amid growing tensions with North Korea over the regime's nuclear program.
Was this our nuke that we tested?
This is our anti-nuke.
Anti-nuke.
It's the one that shoots down nukes. Now, I don't know if it's nuclear tipped. Generally, they're not. Or maybe they are. I don't know. It's been so long since I've had to really look into them or pay attention to them. But the Minuteman is an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of... Oh, well, I'm about to correct myself. The Minuteman III is an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of carrying nuclear warheads. When it was built in the 70s, each missile had a price tag of $7 million or more than $40 million in current dollars. Since the initial production run, the Air Force has made upgrades to the Minuteman III, including modern targeting systems.
So it's a new nuke.
It's a new nuke.
Yeah.
But I thought that Minuteman was originally designed to shoot down other nukes.
Well,
Maybe that's a different system.
I was looking at this one already, and you basically take that Fat Boy, and like you just make it super, super skinny, and that's what it looks like.
Oh, okay. I mean, they got so many different missiles now, it's really hard to tell. But I know the Minuteman came out back in the 70s. We heard about it a lot in the 80s with Reagan. He was trying to deploy it in
and
Western
if you
Europe.
could, what is the Fat Boy?
I don't know. Sounds like a motorcycle to me.
You haven't heard of that one?
No, I actually haven't.
It's one of the 2 nukes that they used in Japan.
Oh, that's the original ones, the first
Yeah.
ones. Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought maybe it was something else had come out, but no, that's Fat Man and Little Boy. They dropped it on in Japan.
Is it Fat Boy or Fat Man?
Fat Boy. It's Fat Man and Little Boy, I believe.
Yeah.
Fat Boy, Little Boy.
Anyway, the missile test conducted from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California sent the Minuteman about 4,200 miles to a test range in the Marshall Islands. See, that's some stuff that the North Koreans just can't do yet,
No.
and that's a good thing. Launch,
No ICBMs.
the launch was an important demonstration of our nation's nuclear deterrent capability. Test launches like this one are vital to validating the effectiveness and readiness of our operational nuclear systems, so it is critical that they succeed, said Colonel Moss. Yeah, it shows North Korea that, you know, they can throw one at us, but we can put one right in their lap.
Probably a lot faster.
So there's what it looks like.
Yeah,
Just
And
a-
it's just a rocket. I mean,
Just a rocket.
Yeah, they're kind of neat.
With a nuke on the top.
It's kind of frightening that it's such a nice compact little.
The nuke
Package.
is like that
Yeah.
part of like that much of the missile.
Well, it's all fuel and
Yeah, fuel and projectile to get
Right.
there.
Also, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, known as THAAD, interceptor is launched during the successful intercept trials in this by the Defense Department. The THAAD. Oh, I repeated that paragraph.
It is a big thing though. Big
Oh,
missile.
it's a pretty big. It's a missile.
There's a dude standing next to it.
Actually, that's not very big.
No,
The
it's not.
really big ICBMs, the ones they put in silos
The
in
old
like
school
Kansas.
ones, yeah.
So
Those are like
I'll
the-
show here. So there's a guy standing about right here. He's only comes up a little portion of the nuke. So
Yeah, they we started to install the anti-missile battery in South Korea against their threats from North Korea. The THAAD system is made by Lockheed Martin. It's expected to be operational in South Korea in a matter of days, according to congressional testimony by Admiral Harry Harris, head of the U.S. Pacific Command.
Right.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy recently deployed a strike group led by the aircraft carrier Carl Vincennes to the region. So it's getting a little warm over there.
It's getting actually.
And he's-
Just recently, Japan just launched their carrier, well, the helicarrier thing,
Yeah, they, in support.
right in support. So now you got Japan's biggest ship in their fleet. In
they're
the,
just
in the
trailing
set-
hers.
Well, exactly in support of ours, but right now we're at such a stalemate. It's unbelievable. You
I don't
know?
think it's a stalemate.
Well, North Korea just issued a warning that if we continue with the
Exactly, our
bomber
testing,
exercise,
right.
Well, we have bomber run
And we just
exercises,
sent 2 over there.
right? And they're saying that if we continue that, they're going to retaliate with nukes. Well, I don't know who they're going to hit because none of their stuff can get off the pad, but
They'll blow themselves up at this point.
save us a lot of trouble if they had just one of their
We're
nukes.
sending nukes.
You know, if they actually tried to send a nuke over here from their pad and lit themselves up, problem solved.
Problem
Don't
solved.
gotta nuke
Yeah,
them.
but
Don't gotta nuke them.
unfortunately, all those brainwashed people over there would
Well,
suffer.
Uh,
I mean,
well-
they just installed the THAAD missile system over in South Korea, which that system shoots down nukes.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was telling them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and we use it over in the Middle East too, I believe.
Yeah, we did.
And then Russia has theirs on their side. They got the S-500s that they make,
Right.
and they've installed a couple of those over there, and those shoot down up to like 20 warheads at once.
Well, it seems that all the more developed nations have managed to figure out how to defend
Block
themselves against the
Yes.
nukes, and the third world ones like like North Korea or Pakistan or these other countries, they seem to be able to build the
Well, they're
offensive
just-
ones because
they're
that's
just
easier
now
to do.
catching up. Yeah,
Right.
they're
Yeah.
still catching up with the nuke process. They can make them, but
Does everybody realize that North Korea is at about 70 years behind the technological curve when it comes to nukes?
They are. They truly are. The whole country, matter of fact, is for that matter. Just because they don't like anything to really
they don't
prosper.
like change.
They don't like change.
The government controls everything.
And
Well, tip one of those nuke ballistics over on your launch pad, and you'll get a lot of change. Yeah.
well, the thing
Well,
is,
they're not putting the
wasn't
payloads in.
until Kim Jong Un really took power you really started to see the real progressive stance that they were taking now. You know.
Well, I think he's trying to prop up his regime with terror and conflict because he's third generation,
Yeah.
and
What did they have to show for it?
yeah, nothing's really changed. I mean, his country they still starve. They're now at odds with us,
And China.
South Korea, China, and Russia. The Russians and the Chinese are massed on the border
Yeah.
of North
Both of them.
Korea, and in my opinion, I think they're just waiting to divvy up the free real estate if things go
Exactly.
bad. And they'll go south. They'll split the country in half. The south will go north. They'll grab a bit, and we'll just
And
let
then
everything
China will
happen.
take the rest.
Yeah, they're all going to divvy up the country. When Kim Jong Un,
Kim Jong Un.
I can't, it doesn't roll off my tongue. Finally, falls apart, and again, but you're right. The sad part about it is all those people in his country, if they survive it, the culture shock they're going to get when they realize what they have not been involved in.
Right.
Yeah.
All the technology, all the advancements in medicine, all the things that we take for granted here in America, all those little special snowflakes out there.
Grocery markets.
Exactly.
But it's got to be like a primitive man walking out of the primordial forest and seeing a city.
See a city, yeah, exactly. Like, what the heck is this, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, in a bizarre way, it's going to be very entertaining to watch all this unfold. Hopefully, there won't be any loss of life. But at some point, these poor people in North Korea are going to be exposed to the real world. And I remember when the East Germany and West Germany got together and reunified, there were a lot of East Germans who were like, they had no clue what the world what was like outside the walls.
And that's absolutely true. You know, and you could see it through their architecture. When I was stationed over there, you go through East Germany and stuff, and you're just like, it's very square, very bland, you know. And you go through what West Germany is, you know, it's creative. There's art. There's life.
Lights.
Exactly. That as well. And that's exactly what the people of North Korea, once they are freed from that tyranny, they're actually going to realize, wow, we've been really
So
hosed.
who's going to take care of the North Korean people if their
The
country
South
falls?
Koreans.
South
Koreans.
South Koreans will step up because it's still their people.
Well,
They're still Koreans.
I know friends now that have families stuck over there. You know, who a lot of them escaped from North Korea into South Korea and managed to come over here. So yes, of course, the South Koreans will definitely bring them back in because majority of their families they haven't seen for centuries, you know, decades, you know, and that's what I'm gonna say. But
centuries,
centuries, yeah,
a few generations there.
Anyways, for decades, and you know they would love to see those family members again.
Yeah. Well, my last thing I have is just a little bit of, it's almost like military tech. I read on this and I was kind of fascinated by it because we've always kind of joked about this weapon. We were always kind of hoping that someday it would show up. It was almost like science fiction. I don't know if everybody knows what it is, but it's a rail gun. It's an electromagnetic rail gun. Basically what it does is it takes a projectile, puts it in the barrel, and the magnet back here pushes it, the magnet up here pulls it, and it continues to do this process all the way out the barrel. And the amount of velocity that it can create is phenomenal. We used to hear rumors that the problem with it was, one, they needed a battery or a power pack the size of a building, and that most of the projectiles would vaporize before they got to the target because they were going so fast they'd heat up. Well, they seem to have fixed a bunch of these problems because the new prototype, a Mach 6 cannon capable of striking a target 110 miles away with pinpoint accuracy. Now, this is not a missile.
No.
This is a kinetic.
It's a little piece of metal.
This is a bullet.
Yeah.
110 miles. I saw a video of them test firing one. They didn't show much because I'm sure they can't. I've got the things here. It says the railgun projectile would cost about $25,000 to produce, and it's twice the current range of 67 miles of the Boeing's Harpoon 2, which is a similar thing, but it costs $1.2 million to fire, as opposed to the $25,000. So not only do we have a better weapon, but it's cheaper to fire.
Right.
And they have the measurements here. The Boeing's Harpoon, this is funny, measures 12.5 feet in length and more than a foot in diameter. The railgun's projectile is only 18 inches long and a few inches around. That's a dart.
Yeah.
Jeez,
110 miles.
Pinpoint accuracy.
Yes.
It's just going so much faster. It has the same impact of a huge shell.
Who knows what it does by the time it gets there? But it's got it's got momentum, it's got velocity, and I'm sure it's made out of depleted uranium or some ungodly hard substance. So when it hits, it just keeps going. Yeah, and that's not even.
Wow.
It doesn't even have munitions on the end of it. It's a solid object.
Yeah,
It's a dart.
Yeah.
It's a bludgeon.
But when you're going
weapon.
that fast, you punch right through bunkers and
Everything.
yeah. So, but I thought it was hilarious.
Technology catches up with the shielding or whatever.
And they'll put a explosive tip on the end of it. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know
when
why.
that thing comes, it goes.
It'll fly through the explosion before the explosion goes off. But yeah, so I found that pretty good. And they're going to put it initially on naval vessels because
It's the only thing you can carry in.
Well,
You
most
said
of
it's
it.
the
only
power
18
source-
inches, right?
Yes,
the
but-
shell.
but the ones that are carrying the harpoons, they only carry there was a number here. They carry so many, but now think of how many more they can carry as opposed to the 12-foot long.
Well, and
Harpoon.
also there's less explosives on there too.
Right,
Since you
could-
just
yeah.
use a magnetic.
Yeah. So now they have more capacity for ammo, and
Less danger
I
to
would
the
not. I
ship.
would
Could
not
you-
want to be
could you
anywhere
imagine-
near that thing.
110 miles away, you're sitting on some missile frigate. You're eating your borscht or whatever it is, or whatever country you're from. And
Hey, we had
dart,
it the
yeah, I
other
had
day.
borscht. I like borscht. It's pretty good. But this dart, this rod, this whatever, a
Piece of
javelin,
metal.
this piece of metal comes
Yeah.
flying through the bulkhead
You don't
on your
even
boat.
see it.
I can't even imagine the Spalding effect, the secondary explosions that will be caused by it. And at 18 inches, I don't think there's radar that can pick that up.
No, plus it's traveling
moving
too
too
fast.
fast.
Yeah, exactly.
The phalanx system wouldn't even hit it.
No.
No. And it's a pretty good system, but that's if you can go 110 miles at pinpoint accuracy, you're moving at a pretty good clip.
I'll tell you like this: we had the phalanx system, the basically the big guns that are on those boats, the
They're the anti-missile,
anti-missile, anti-whatever.
These are
anti-anything in the
missiles,
air.
Yeah. So, anyways, we had those, basically taken off the boats and placed in the base in Iraq and stuff in Afghanistan. And I'm telling you, those things were able to take down mortar rounds and rocket rounds that come into the
Because
base.
they moved a lot slower. but-
Exactly. So if
If you take out a mortar round in flight,
in flight,
yeah.
and you can hear the alarms will go off, and all of a sudden you're boo, and then next thing you
if
know,
he
it's
aims
bum,
at
bum,
it,
bum, 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 you know. So it was if it's able to take out that, I thought that was a feat,
Yeah.
But if this thing is traveling,
Well, it's because those things have arcs that it can figure out where it
But it
is.
tracks its
oh yeah,
trajectory.
it's
These-
very
yeah.
I've
very
never seen
complicated.
I've never seen the phalanx system, but I've seen the Vulcan go off,
Yeah.
and that thing puts chills down your spine.
I mean, just the firepower coming out of the. I mean, you stand. It sucks if you stand next to that thing because at any
No
point,
death.
Yeah.
you feel it in your body. It
Yeah.
just reverberates.
I was quite a distance away, and we were watching it, and every time it would go off, it would just make you feel like, ugh, glad I'm at this end and not
Yeah.
that end.
Imagine the gun on the Warthog times 10.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well, my last thing I'll get to is so we can move on, and I can't help but bring it up because it's just, again, it's like a wart. It won't go away. It's Hillary Clinton. On Tuesday,
Well,
she
you
I would
also
say
said
more
got to
like,
talk about her
uh,
counterpart as well. So
her counterpart.
yeah, it's Hillary and Obama. I mean, they're both trying to stay alive in the news.
I'm just glad Obama's gone, but Hillary, she
He's
got
not
on
really
TV.
gone, man.
He's
He's still hanging out just like.
I'm sure he's doing more damage behind the scenes than she is. She's just annoying with this. She says she takes absolute personal responsibility for her losing the presidential campaign, but then went on to blame FBI Director James Comey and the Russian interference for aiding the Republican rival Donald Trump's ascension to the presidency. She takes full responsibility, then promptly blames somebody
Right.
else.
It's
So-
my fault, but
I would.
if it wasn't for the Russian hackers
Or Comey.
and Comey, I would have had it in the bag.
She
you know?
specifically cited the letter from Comey late in the campaign saying agents were looking into possible new information related to Clinton's secret homebrewed computer server. She was ultimately never charged with the crime.
I
Go
know.
figure.
Well-
Comey cleared Clinton on the Sunday before the election. She also mentioned WikiLeaks, the anti-secrecy website, which some analysts believe to be connected to Russian, and which posted the hacked emails of her campaign chairman, John Podesta. Now, no matter what, the Russians did not drive people to the polls and make them vote. So they
Exactly.
could have done more. I mean, if it's just some information, anyway.
And if they really want to get down to this whole Russian BS, what it really boils down to is the left trying to make excuses and say, oh, it was them. When you got to think about it, really think about this. Why in the hell would the Russians want to make us great and then have Trump put all these sanctions on them? What sense does that
He
make?
didn't say their logic was logical. It's just their logic.
But hey, he's still working with the Russians, all right?
I guess, man. I guess since we had that meal, the Russian meal the other night, that makes us we're colluded with the Russians as well. So
Well, I have to say the borscht was good and
It was different.
Yeah, if hunger makes the best sauce. Maybe that's why it's so good.
But then we had those other things too.
I don't know. Yeah, those were good too. But
Them
they were
good
heavy,
words.
very heavy. She claims she was on her way to winning until the combination of Comey's letter.
This is pure
on the
gold,
28th,
man. This is
and
comic gold.
And the Russian WikiLeaks raised doubts in the minds of people who were inclined to vote for me but were scared off.
Oh, heaven forbid that the public actually knows some truths, you know?
She said this at the Women for Women's International Conference, and this is the best line of all. And I'm so thankful that it didn't happen. She said, if the election were on October 27th, I'd be your president. That is the best reason to keep it on this current date then. Because that is such... It's a weird kind of denial. I mean, there's got to be some psychiatrist somewhere that can bring some light to this. I mean, she's insane.
Yeah.
It's got to be insane. I mean, she's blamed I'm taking full responsibility, but I'm going to blame everybody.
But
Okay.
then, if it was a week earlier.
But if it had been a week earlier, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
she would have won. Whatever, man.
If. I got to say about if, but I can't say it on the air because it's almost a family show. So,
What if?
well,
So anyways, before we move on, folks,
yeah, I'm done. I've given you all the lunacy, and I can take for one day. So,
check out our website, thestandshow.com. It's up and running. We have videos up in case you happen to miss a show. And also we have the shirts available for purchase, which you can buy the shirts. It helps out with the broadcast, helps out with the equipment.
Start on our comments.
all right.
And it's just, you support us. You support liberty. You support freedom. You support a free market. And it's just an amazing time to be alive. I mean, you saw some of the lunacy that's going on, some of the great things that are happening. We're just not even, and we do want to get out there. We do want to, make, make America great again.
America's already great. We just got
yeah.
to keep it great.
Well, that's the other part to it. And when you help support us, you help support your voice to get out there as well. It's just everybody needs to know a different standpoint that we take, because right now free speech is under attack, which I'll start getting into with the CNN ad. So President Trump recently just came out with his new 100-day pretty much ad saying this is what I mean, it's not even the full list of things, but it's pretty much hey, this is what I've done so far.
It was a commercial victory lap.
Exactly.
And it needs to be done every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Because and that's the other thing that we get a lot. Oh, it's you guys are so negative. You guys are always talking about bad things, and it's not bad things when you start to understand that we're trying to get the information out. Now, is it always going to be rainbows and butterflies? No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. This is the real world, folks. And there are attacks on free speech. There are bad things that are happening around the world. And it needs to be put out there so that we can try to combat it. Not to dwell on it and make it, worse than what it is. Because it's just that. We have to start understanding the information, put it out there to understand it, and to fight against it. If we just start laying down and accepting everything for what it is, we're not going to have nothing to fight for once it's here in front of our face, which is almost here, with just the exception of President Trump getting in to try to alleviate some of this attack on humanity. So, like I was saying, getting into the CNN ad, this not only attacks the free speech agenda, even though because he did pay for the ad and did pay CNN to advertise this, and they choose not to post it, not to advertise it. So it's a huge advertisement on free speech. It's also a huge attack on the President of the United States. And then CNN wonders why they're now dubbed really fake news instead of just fake news.
Well, if they took the money to run the ad and they didn't, it sounds like breach of contract.
Yeah.
It does, absolutely. So that
he
might
could
go down
probably-
to another route later on. Exactly. I'm glad you caught on to that because I was just about to get in there. So yeah, it is a breach of contract. What possibly can face is the ultimate shutdown of CNN. In my view.
Really?
No. One of the things people don't know about CNN and ESPN, all these companies, that you wonder how they stay on TV, is because when you buy your package from your cable company,
Oh, it's automatically
it's
included.
like CNN, I believe, gets $7 for every subscriber, whether you watch CNN or not. It's part of your cable bill. So whether we realize it or not, we have been funding CNN all these years. We have been
How
keeping
disgusting.
them online, keeping them on TV by purchasing cable. It's part of the contracts. ESPN, I think they lost, because they have a different subscriber system. I'd heard that they lost 500,000 subscribers last
Yeah.
year. And I gotta believe it's because of they don't do sports anymore. They do politics. The Colin Kaepernick thing.
Right.
The fact that
And you see where he's at now, right?
yeah, I heard he got a job at a 7-Eleven.
Did you?
Well, he's not playing football.
Well, he's selling his house right now. That's in San Jose, and then he's also he was giving out all his suits to a charity.
He's giving away his suits, really? Wow.
Custom tailored suits.
That's so we can write him off, because I think he's going to take a loss on next year's taxes.
You
Yeah.
think?
So he's selling his house, and then he just bought a new apartment in Manhattan.
Well, we gotta keep an eye on him. I want to watch his decline.
His
Because
downfall?
it's just gonna be like,
I'm sorry, you can't get on TV during the country's most favorite thing and then badmouth the very people that are watching you.
It's absolutely
it
true.
made a lot of San Francisco 49er fans not want to watch him anymore.
Yeah. So that's why they've lost subscribers. So, but my point is that CNN's, until someone gets up there and changes, it should be against the law to
But
tell
ESPN is controlled by
CNN
Disney.
that you're going to get paid no matter what.
Right.
They're not part of the free market.
No, because then that's a monopoly and a
Well,
whole bunch
it's-
of other stuff.
It's I wouldn't call it nepotism. It's not a monopoly. It's
Well, you saw
it's a bribe. It's graft. It's corruption, as far as I'm concerned. Because the cable company is basically saying, for every one of our subscribers, we'll give you $7.
well,
Well,
you
then
just saw what happened with
yeah.
ESPN this last week.
Yeah,
No,
they got rid of what 100.
Yeah, 100 of their
Oh, the broadcast.
journalists, their
They're-
sports writers across the board. They're huge names. I've been there for 17 years.
Good.
But you know why that's happening? Because people are finally waking up to the true sport, which is living in reality and fighting politically. That's where the true sport's at, folks. Not
sports are just entertainment.
exactly.
Yes, but the thing is, I'm not a sports guy, but when I watch a sport, whatever it might be, from curling, to football, I don't want to hear about politics, even if it's about my side, and that's a good thing.
Right.
I'm there to watch athletes perform and entertain me. I'm there to watch them compete against each other, and may the best man-woman team win. I'm
But
not
then-
there to hear. I don't want to be told that particular sport is racist because of the name of the team. I don't care. Call them Team B. Call them Team R. You know,
Start using the letters of the
yeah,
alphabet.
team number
numbers.
4.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Eight,
I'm there to
10.
watch the teams play against each other. I want to see the
Care
competition.
less about their names.
Right.
I really, but they should. If that's their name and they want to keep it, they should.
What team are we talking about? The Redskins?
Any team. Maybe I find the Rams offensive.
Oh,
That's true.
Okay.
What if you're a big PETA guy?
Yeah, I think it's terrible that they
use Rams.
Rams. That's
Right. A
Rams
beheaded
around-
ram at that.
Rams around the world are being oppressed by this football team.
Yeah, they are.
They just
Yeah.
don't have a spokesperson.
They just
And and they didn't even color them right.
yeah.
I
They got
want-
white and like tan horns.
I want a natural.
My
looking-
point is, when you mix politics with sports, the people who are there to watch sports aren't going to be there to watch sports. And what made it worse is that all these newscasters and sports writers, they were all lefty.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It's
I mean, if
it's trendy.
you're going to talk about sports or about politics during sports, talk about both sides.
Right, exactly.
It
Well,
just goes
and,
to show you that ESPN did take a hit and they cut back.
well, it's,
Well,
it's,
that's because that's the free market, and they're saying, "Oh, we got to cut back because we're taking an economic hit." All
Gotta
those
save our money.
all those leftist principles go out the window when it starts to cost you the big guy's job.
right, exactly. So, anyways, it's just the attack on free speech. That's what exactly all these riots are doing. They want to say, "Oh, May Day riots and protest, and we're all peaceful protests," but they're actually shutting down
They
free
call
speech.
them riots.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
full-blown
Full-blown
Well,
riots.
riots.
now.
they're finally now coming around to calling them what they actually are. Just a little adage to the whole free speech, the attack on free speech. McDonald's just came out with a salad, and it's going to get a whole bunch of heat because it's an Asian salad, and it might be offensive to people of the Asian culture.
What kind of salad is it?
It's an Asian salad. It's exactly.
Is that what its name
That's
is?
what. It's an Asian salad.
Well,
McDonald's named it such.
Did the country of Asia get upset?
No, it was,
Who got upset?
it was the snowflakes. Excuse me. It was the special snowflakes, the social justice warriors who took it upon themselves to say, oh, this might be offensive to X, Y, Z. You know, to the Asian culture.
You know,
or it's like
what about
it's like having big burritos. You know, it's like, how dare you put burritos on there?
Well, by that same logic,
or Mexican burritos.
well, by that same logic, they should shut down all of Taco Bell.
Exactly.
But I got you beat. I saw this one yesterday. I forgot all about it. I should have printed it up and brought it in. But in London, they had a demonstration where people got up, instead of clapping, they waved their hands.
What?
They didn't clap
The
because
sound waves are
apparently
offensive?
no, because apparently clapping is offensive to deaf people because they're not involved in the. I am not kidding. So instead of applauding now or whistling, you have to do jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
So the deaf people know you're clapping.
So the deaf people know you're clapping.
Oh.
But what about blind people?
Oh yeah, they
If
totally
deaf
forgot them.
Yeah,
Well,
I got
deaf
a jazz hands clap, so I can talk. I can appease both parties.
Deaf people can still see you clapping.
But they can't hear it, so you're offending them.
But they
According
can
to
clap,
some
they can
leftists,
clap too.
this is what's wrong with the left. They are so insane that they just trample on themselves. Because see, we're having this little discussion right now.
Yeah.
Like they know there's a noise, but they
what
just
if
can't hear it.
But what if I'm blind and you do jazz hands?
Yeah, there's
How do I
nothing.
know the show's over?
You're
You
done.
gotta clap.
You got to
But
be
But then
where?
you're
aware.
offending the deaf person.
Well, they can see it.
But he can't hear it. He can see this.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see
I don't
this
see. It
too.
just makes no logic. And I watched this the other night. It was a.
I'm glad this happens because I wonder if this actually happens in the whole realm of the Justice Warriors. You know, does this
Like,
debate?
No.
Does this debate even take
No, because
place?
we both they just agree with each other and
And then move on.
move on. They just.
Jazz hands,
You
yeah,
want-
jazz hands. All right, jazz hands.
You want to know where this doesn't happen? The animal kingdom.
No. There will be no clapping. I will eat you. Okay.
Jazz
Yeah, the
hands.
lunacy is out of control. That's the thing. We were talking about North Korea. People in North Korea, they don't concern themselves with these things.
Oh.
Only people in this country who have got more money and more food and more free time than anybody else on the planet worry about this kind of
Exactly,
stuff.
like we said last week. Even our poor are not even poor compared to the rest of the world.
No.
You know.
I should be so poor.
Maybe you're not loving enough. Maybe you have to actually live, you know, on the
I haven't
streets.
embraced my poorness yet.
That's racist.
It's because you have, what is it?
I have
white,
ambitions,
White,
I
white
have-
privilege?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, you just haven't embraced it. You're
I
not
haven't-
loving enough. You know, you have to get more in the snowflake complex. But maybe one day, George. Maybe
Well,
one
You'll
day.
I
get
might
there
be too
someday.
old. Just march me off to the re-education camp.
There you go. There you go. But moving on again, just, the website stanshow.com. Check us out. Spread this link. You know, last week was one of our best shows we had in a long time, which we really appreciate it. Again, our crew is growing, so the call is out there in case you want to join the stand. We do need your help. We want to get out there, start hitting the streets. We want to, you know, spread our wings. So
That's the other thing I wanted to mention to everybody out there. I think one of the keys is that the left, the reason they're having these successes is because they communicate with each other, they talk to each other, they encourage each other to get involved. We're all so busy working for a living that we don't do that. So I challenge everybody out there who listens to this, find one other person who's not aware, enlighten them, turn them on to us, turn them on to the way the world is spinning out of control, and let them know they're not alone.
Right.
And if everybody we know finds one other person, we will double our numbers.
right, exactly.
And it's not that we're looking for a conflict, but we can't be the silent majority anymore. We have to be the vocal majority.
Absolutely.
We have to convince the snowflakes and the anarchists and the Marxists that they are very few and that they do not represent this country or us, and that if they just
So-
need to behave
So
themselves.
what do you call them when they group up and start rioting? Are they a militia?
Or a mob.
Or are they a gang?
Just a mob.
I personally call it a target-rich environment, but that's just me.
No, but what George is trying to say, folks, is we're not alone.
No.
You know, they have their numbers, and we need to start gathering ours.
We outnumber them. That's the bottom line. We outnumber them.
But
Most
we're
of
not
this
coming together. That's the other part.
The thing is, we don't show it.
Most of this country is a conservative, Judeo-Christian society.
They don't really want to fight.
Well, we don't. I don't want to go to war with
Yeah,
them.
exactly. And we're not gathering numbers to
But they're
go and
doing
fight
it on
them.
their side.
That's because they haven't felt any resistance yet.
Right.
They want to be the ones to resist. No one has
So what do you-
spanked them. No one has spanked them.
What do you do to the first group of people that actually resists them and actually does something to them?
Okay, so let's
I'm just going to get in trouble.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm just saying, what would the law do with those?
The law's
those
done
people?
nothing. They
The
watch
law-
them.
Well,
We
the
see
law's
them.
watching them, watching them.
But that's all they've been doing. We talked about this not too long ago.
The cops were just standing by on the sidelines,
Right,
just
exactly.
not getting involved because they don't want to get involved.
Because it's a PR nightmare if they do. Like I said, it goes back to 3 cops grab some rioter
And then beat 'em.
and club him and then drag him off to jail. All you're going to see on the TV and the newspaper is some poor snowflake with a bloody nose and 3 big fascist-looking jackbooted cops dragging him
You
off to
forgot
jail.
something. Multiple tears. Yeah, tears just everywhere. Tears. Because be crying that they got a bloody nose.
Did you want to talk about or bring up that thing that happened at Utah?
Yeah, go ahead, Lance. But before we get, we got ahead of ourselves. But anyways,
Do you have it on there?
no, I don't.
Okay.
But anyways, just to finish up on the attack on free speech is just that the left, it will, they want their free speech to be heard, but when it comes to everybody else's, they either silence us or pepper spray us or
There was a lot of it going on at the May Day protests.
exactly, and even the media doesn't even want to. Even the media doesn't want to, really show that this is really happening or that people's freedom of speech is being taken down. And coming back to where we need your support is just for that, folks. It's not we're trying to rally folks for to go to war with the left.
No,
We're-
it's more of a it's a support group.
It's a support, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because
You support us, we'll support you. We can become that voice for you and get the message out there for people who love liberty, who love America.
But think about it. There's got to be some man or woman sitting in their living room watching all this nonsense on TV, and they have to feel as if they're all by themselves.
Right.
They know what they believe. They know what they how they feel about this country, and what they see on TV is not true and it's not accurate. And they just have to know that there are other people out there who feel just as isolated.
Right.
See, that's what they've done. They've isolated us. They've made us look like lunatics for feeling this way and thinking this way. So what you have to do is go find more like-minded individuals. If you're a veteran, go to the VFW. If you've got a bowling league, don't be afraid to talk about politics.
Yeah, and that's the other part. Everybody's
what bowling
been
leagues were
trained.
created for.
Everybody.
That and drinking beer.
Everybody
Yes.
was trained not to. Oh, you can't talk politics at work. You can't talk politics here. You can't do it there. And it's just the whole culture of just being silenced.
Well, it originally started because whenever somebody talked about politics, some lefty, some snowflake got offended and started a court case.
Exactly.
So your corporation or whoever you work for just said, no talking about it.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to deal with it. Even if they agree with one side or the other, they just stop because they suffer it legally and monetarily.
Right, and they don't want to deal with all that.
Because there's too many slip and fall lawyers
Yeah.
that will take that case.
Exactly. So moving on to my next one. Sorry, on 26th of April, not too long ago, basically a couple days ago, the UN High Commission on Human Rights in Geneva sent a message to President Trump saying that if you do happen to replace or change Obamacare, that
Or repeal it.
that it will be a violation of international law, and it is racist if you happen to do that. So
That's the UN for you.
yeah, that's the UN, the one that we do have to get rid of. We just have to route this out.
Well, Russia already left it. Well, they got kicked out.
Well, they got
Lucky for
kicked
them.
out. Maybe it was the best thing for them. But to go on saying that Obamacare is racist, I don't know how the hell it would be racist.
I want to know how it violates international law.
Well, exactly,
What-
because
what
it's
is
American.
an international law.
It doesn't apply to anybody outside this country, so therefore it doesn't affect them, and it can't be international.
Right,
But
exactly.
the Obamacare only affects our country.
Right. But it's a violation of international law according to the United Nations.
Well,
But see, that's another thing. These are the statements that we hear, and nobody ever backs it up with facts. They just make outlandish statements, and we're all supposed to recoil from it.
well, we would love to hear how it is racist and everything, but of course they don't want to comment on it.
They just put out
head-
a statement.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"Oh, you're breaking international law and it's racist.
Yeah, so the Xavier K. Well, whatever. I don't know.
Read the.
The spokesperson for
Yeah.
UN said that cannot comment on his Obamacare letter until it becomes public in June. So we have to wait another month.
What? It's not like it's a pending investigation. What? It's funny when the left gets cornered, they always go to "I can't comment on," and then they give some half-hashed,
Yeah, exactly.
nonsensical reason. If you say something, stand behind it.
But the reason I bring up the Obamacare thing is because
Read who it was from.
the letter
Yeah, a spokesman for the UN's Human Rights Office.
was sent by Danius Preyas, Lutheran doctor,
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian. Yeah, sorry, glasses on.
I can see from here.
You're also half his age.
Yeah.
Half his age.
No, that's right. You're half my age.
He's 12. No, a Lithuanian doctor serves as
Lithuanian.
yeah,
But it's
whatever.
alright.
Anyways, lithium. There you go. How about that one? Is that better?
Round for everybody.
Alright.
Serves as the UN as a special rapporteur on the right of everyone to enjoyment of the highest attainable standards of physical and mental health. That's a hell of a title. Anyways,
Special rapporteur. Okay.
yeah. So, anyways, he's just there to say, oh, everybody's entitled for
Anything.
the standard of physical and mental health. Anyway,
So
so
why
he,
isn't you commenting on like North Korea stuff? Or
No, that's
No.
Or even
that's
Russia.
issue of substance.
or China,
He doesn't want to offend North Koreans,
right,
or
exactly.
Chinese, or Russians,
Chinese,
or
and
anyone
So-
else that has a heart in their countries,
Or Africa.
or Africa. Talk about South Africa.
Not even South Africa. Just
Any
Africa. So, anyways, this is a bunch of BS coming from the UN. It's just disgusting that they would even take time to write a letter to our president saying that our healthcare system, our
Is in
American
jeopardy.
American healthcare system is going to affect the international community for whatever reason. Maybe because he's referring to the amount of illegal immigrants flooding into every country that they might.
Don't worry about
Sorry. Something that we saw on the screen there.
it
Thanks,
wasn't
George.
bad.
It's not bad.
Oh, it's just a little
Guys,
feed somebody
So-
sent me. Don't worry about it. Go back to your show.
Oh, dude.
so it would possibly affect, the international community for whatever reason. So it's just a bunch of garbage. And Trump truly needs to come out on the offensive now. I think after the 100 days, he started to play softball and everything, and played along with everybody. But now I think it's time for him to really put the put it on him. It's just I think it's time. Yeah, 100 days are gone. It's just going to get worse unless he actually starts hitting these people. He should have. He should have came
people
out with
very
a big counter statement to this thing, but he remained silent, and I think that's one of his biggest downfalls is remain silent when it comes to issues like this and multiple issues, and that's
Well, I have to believe that when he hears something like this nonsense from the UN, that he doesn't even acknowledge
doesn't
it because
care about
it's because he's got to know that it's such BS.
Yeah.
I feel like it's bait for him to talk
Yeah,
about
that's what it is. They're trying to bait him, and he's like, you know what?
I don't got time.
Yeah, I don't play that game. And
Right.
he's busy doing real work. He's busy firing dirtbags at the VA. He's busy
Trying
making
to
sure.
restructure the inside.
Yeah, and he's making
Yeah.
sure North Korea minds its manners.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't care what some UN official says, because quite honestly, I honestly believe that if he was a little more supported, he'd push that entire building right off into the ocean.
Yeah, I
Because
honestly
he has
believe too.
mentioned that we don't need it, and they
Don't do anything for
They
us.
don't do anything.
We
and
pay too much into
They
them.
just take our money, and they don't. If you're going to take all our money, be on our side.
Right, but they
That's what
didn't
my
do
money
that.
gets. My
Yeah.
money gets me friends, I guess, is what I'm looking for. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want you as my friend. If you're not going to be my friend, you don't get any more money.
Right.
It's
So-
just funny that way, old school, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, people we're,
Yeah.
we're pushing. You know, I used to be against old school and stuff, but now since I have a family and now since I have a job and I'm working, you know, trying to make a living for him, a better future, I finally see what all those old guys were talking about. You know.
I'm just gonna quote Winston Churchill, and I'm sure I'm gonna get it, but I'm paraphrasing. Winston Churchill said, "When you're young and liberal, it's noble. When you're old and liberal, it's irresponsible."
Yeah, and that's true to this day. So, anyways, yeah, I think Trump really needs to start coming out on these people. You know.
Yeah,
But-
they're just infants.
So,
Anyways.
we'll move on to the last subject, and let's talk about Congress, or the Republican side of the party is fracturing, or is already fractured. It was fractured before the election, and now you got like two parts in the Republican side who are now fighting against each other on trying to pass everything. So I mean, you already have the Democrats; they all vote the same way. My dad put it in perspective to where they all vote for the same thing, even if some of them don't think that they should vote for it, they'll vote the same way.
Right.
Republicans,
Well, it's funny. The difference between the establishment Republicans and all Democrats is that establishment Republicans they want the same stuff. They just want to be in charge of it. So it's the establishment Republicans just need to just put D's next to their name. If they're not going to support the Republican president, if they're not going to support his policies that we voted for, that we demand, then basically they are the opposition.
They are.
And I personally have absolutely no respect for the Speaker of the House because he has not done a good job. During the campaign, he called Trump a racist.
Yeah.
He said he wouldn't campaign with him. He didn't want to be seen with him. But when Trump came into the job, he was right there.
Welcome.
But you know what?
I love you.
Yeah, he was buddy, but his true self is shown when he doesn't support it.
well,
Right.
it all started when he first got in to be the speaker. He said he wasn't going to support that Obamacare or the Obama bill, and then right when he got to become speaker, he had his voice to like go on it, and he just flipped sides and just did everything for Obama.
The
Right.
problem is, too many of them are professional politicians. I'm an advocate of term limits on all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
You know-
what the other thing Trump wanted to do, but
Yeah.
obviously it's not going to get passed because
Well, why
Everybody
would
in there.
Congress pass term limits? That's like your employer coming to you going, hey, listen, we're going to be laying some people off. You want to volunteer?
Right.
Oh, hell no, I don't want to volunteer to get laid off. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be on the ballot. We have to do things to put these on the ballots,
Right.
where they don't get to decide. We get to
vote,
decide.
yeah.
You know, because it's not supposed to be a career. It's supposed to be the civil service.
It is.
It is supposed to be the equivalent of
And not
going
getting
off and
paid-
joining the army for 2 years.
right, and not getting paid six figures for the rest of your life either.
So you don't want lifelong politicians.
No, no, never.
Absolutely not.
I want lifelong servicemen, maybe. I want lifelong mailmen, but I don't want guys up there deciding how much a pack of cigarettes costs, being up there for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Kennedy, Byrd,
Oh man, those guys were horrible.
Hatch. I mean, I like
I mean,
Orrin Hatch, but he's
Senator Byrd was
Was
a
the- I think it was
Grand Master Dragon, whatever the hell they
he
call
was
themselves
the
in the
Grand
KKK.
Kleagle of the Ku Klux Klan. He
Yeah.
was a Democrat, and he was Hillary Clinton's mentor. But
Exactly.
that's a whole other show. But my point is, even the Republicans, Orrin Hatch, Harry Reid, these guys have been in office since before Reagan.
Yes.
He's not Republican.
Well, I'm just using an example because I know he'd been in office forever and ever.
Yeah.
30,
It's a
40
squatting.
years or
Yeah.
something.
He was
Just
in
squatting.
office longer than you were been alive.
I
Okay,
know.
that's not what our founding fathers intended.
No,
Yeah.
not absolutely not. And it's
I mean,
just
George Washington turned down to be king. That's how much he knew that the system that they had put in place had to work. I mean, if someone comes and said, "We're going to make you king," I don't know. I'd be pretty tough to say no to that.
I know.
Yeah.
I think everybody
But
wants to
that-
be a king.
Yeah,
you know?
but that just shows the their
nobility.
the nobility towards
Yeah.
it, that they saw that what they were building was something that needed to not ever get perverted, and our current Congress has perverted it to the
Far
point.
past that.
It's
Yeah.
gone. It's
Yeah.
gone. America has been taken over. You know, unfortunately.
By bureaucrats.
Yeah. Big corporations, everything. So.
If I was king, the first thing I would get rid of is the bureaucrats. We'd have a lotto. It'd be the exact opposite odds. You know, not 1 in a million. It'd be 1 million and a couple of you would survive.
No, but what Lance is saying is true. You know, the internet cut off. I think.
Oh,
That's
this
all
one?
right.
Right, but what Lance is saying, folks, is the Republicans won both parts of the House. They won the Senate. They won everything that you could possibly imagine. This is supposed to be a dream, you know.
But there's too much infighting. They
Exactly.
can't pass anything.
Exactly.
America is a dream. It's a dream for everybody who doesn't live here.
Right.
People die to get here. You know, 90 miles from Cuba to Florida, they will climb aboard some inner tubes and a piece of plywood to get here.
Right.
People die in container ships smuggling themselves here. People climb up into the wheel wells of jet planes to get here.
Yeah.
And then those of us here, we don't appreciate what we have.
Absolutely.
You know, and then, I mean, as much as I'm opposed to illegal immigration, you know, they march across the desert, and we live in the desert. We know how hard that can be. Try marching across the Arizona desert to get here.
Oh,
That's how bad
in the middle of
their
summer.
crap countries are.
Yeah.
You know,
But nobody sees that because nobody cares. They have it so good, and the oppression of everything, you know.
the snowflakes.
They're too comfortable.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a great point. That's a great point because in the military we call it complacency. You know, you get too complacent, you know, and you start to lax on all your training and everything. So say that, you know, somebody's coming in the force or whatever, you're like, oh, that's fine, you know, and all of a
I
sudden,
don't know who that is, but he's running.
right, you get complacent, and then the next thing you know, you could be
He could be coming at you with a gun.
exactly.
Train like you're gonna fight, because you're gonna fight like you trained.
Well, absolutely. And these kids today, well, I call them kids, even though they're probably my age going out there and doing all this stuff. They just don't understand. They just don't understand, and that's where we, the American people, have to go out and use our voice, you know, and we have to start going after these rallies and everything, even though it's...
Do you fault them for not understanding?
I do fault them. I fault our education system, and I mostly fault the parents.
Well, I don't fault the ones who don't know because they are ignorant. There's a difference between ignorant and dumb. I fault the school district is a good one to blame because they have deliberately taken things like civics and history and constitutional knowledge out of the school district.
Right.
They've taken it out of the curriculum. They don't want everyone to know what the rules
The
are.
true history of...
Yeah. Well, they don't want to know what the rules are because then they could whatever they tell them will be true.
Right.
If he had no idea there was 3 branches of government and the president just decided to do something, and I told him,
He's
well,
a
it's okay.
dictator. Yeah, he's a dictator.
And he'd think that's okay because he's unaware of the other branches of government. So it's been a deliberate dumbing down of this country.
Right. Well, no, I absolutely agree to that too. But the other part is, people need to take it upon themselves to educate themselves. And we harped on this multiple times. Don't take our word for it. Research. Do the research on your own. Look it up for yourself. And then, you know, if our research and everything happen to be true, then obviously we're on the right track.
If we're wrong, call us and tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no problem hearing a dissenting opinion. I'm not a leftist.
Yeah, exactly. We can actually handle opinions and other things like that. So, no feeds up.
It's about to die.
Oh. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Thanks again for joining us on Stan. StanShow.com's website. Check it out. And then also take the stand for liberty. God bless you and God bless America, folks.
Good night, everyone.